Good morning, all. Ira Epstein with your morning flash update. And this update is for the morning as we're here now on Thursday. And this is the 14th of December, 2023. And the time right now about 8:20 a.m. Central Time. Notice the clocks that are right here. You're coming up to your last trading days in all the stock indices. I have already, for my subscribers, done the morning roll. So I've moved into all the marches already. You should be doing the same thing now and getting away from the December. So the roll is taking place, and by tomorrow you should be out, and I hope into the marches. I will start tomorrow with all the marches for you. In fact, I might do it tonight when we do the updates. Yesterday was obviously a huge day for America. It was our pivot, watershed event. The Fed is no longer looking to raise rates, in their own words, not mine. And the Fed is looking and began discussion of cutting rates at the meeting. This is very different than the press conference happening as I'm speaking right now that Ms. Lagarde is holding. She just said that not even the discussion, it wasn't brought up to talk about cutting rates in the Eurozone. They fully intend on PEP, which is their program of continuing to roll and buy bonds and notes as they come due, will continue, but it'll be phased out and over by the end of 2024. They remain data dependent, but they don't see what we see at this point with their inflation falling and locking in as we are seeing in America, at least what our Fed thinks is taking place there. The Bank of England kept its interest rates, as did the European Central Bank, unchanged. The Norway's bank, raised them by a quarter points, but they think they're done, they said. Peru today is looking to keep its interest rates unchanged. Ukraine's central bank today cut its interest rate by 1 percentage point down to 15%. And I'm looking, I haven't seen anything yet on the Swiss National Bank, but they're widely expected to be unchanged. I do this all from memory. There are no boards I'm reading for. I don't have a teleprompter. So sometimes it gets a little bit difficult. All right. So basically, the U.S. is leading the parade lower. That is forcing the dollar down. Yes, down. You're getting a bid as Ms. Lagarde is talking, and you're going up further in the currencies. I am going to shift you now also out of all the December currencies as early as tonight into the March. It's time to leave all that. So say goodbye to December. So long. You were very good to us. I'm pleased. Let's take a look at the U.S. data this morning. We had advanced retail sales. What did I tell you? The U.S. consumer, if he makes $1, he spends $1.02. Retail sales, they were looking for a decline of 0.1. They were up 0.3. Ex-auto, they expected it flat. It's up 0.2. You can't keep the U.S. consumer from buying. They have itchy fingers. They buy online. They go into the stores, and they buy at Christmas. And the reason is they're all employed. Everybody that wants a job can get a job, basically speaking. You see that right here in the jobless claims. They fell another 19,000. They were expecting unchanged at 220. Instead, it's at 202. Now, the weeklies are all over the board. They're doing this, but they're gradually climbing as traders are finding it, at this time of the year especially, a little harder to get some jobs. Those temporary workers were done. Remember, we've seen all the workers from the strikes in America, the auto workers, SAG, they're back into these numbers. Import-export prices, this is what the Fed's talking about. We are not importing inflation. It was down 0.4. Now, admittedly, they were expecting it down 0.8, but it's still not inflation. Export prices, the prior month, they were down 1.1%. They're down, again, 0.9, not as much. But look at what petroleum prices that we do buy from abroad. They are down sharply. I do hope, and the Biden administration, let me tell you, I think they're smart to not tell us how much oil they have bought. They better have bought, otherwise, I'm going to rip them up, in their butt in this show. But they're supposed to have put out their waivers and bought on this break for the strategic reserves, and they should keep that policy going each month. Replace what you took out. We get from the energy analysts a little later this morning what they are forecasting on the build in natural gas. Now, I can tell you this, living in the Midwest, I'm in Chicago. This is December 14th. Normally, honestly, I'd be out there with the shovel, salting the sidewalks. It's going to be 50 degrees again tomorrow. We are lucky if we get down into the 20s at night. Generally, we're closer to 30, 32, freezing. And during the daytime, it's just absolutely phenomenal. This is, for me, I have lived in Chicago other than college, and I've had places on the West Coast and East Coast that I've lived, but they're second places that I've had my whole life. I've never seen it like this. The only thing I'm missing here are palm trees. The reality is, if our politics were better in Chicago, it'd be a phenomenal place to live. Unfortunately, they're terrible. Crime is terrible. There's a lot wrong with the way that we run this city, and it's a true shame. And, you know, you see it in the crime statistics, the robberies, the hijacking of cars, all that. So I am a vocal critic on it, and why not? People have to say something and do something with their vote. That's all you can do. In the grain market, a little bit of a bid coming in. I'm not surprised, all right? Nor am I surprised that we're getting a bit of a bid here. Now, I'm switching gears over to the Fed today. So this will be the last time you see that as well. And this is an important day. If the market can stay up just like it is, it loses the bearish embedded reading. If it fails from here and only closes up modestly, this was your rally attempt and it will be a failure. Today's an important day. Why do I say that on these markets? When you drop the dollar, you give a bid automatically to markets like the gold and the silver market and the copper. Why are they up so much? Well, they're up in part because they settle at 12:30 p.m. That means when they settled, they did not have the ability to see the Fed statement, let alone the press conference by Fed Chair Powell, let alone see him make the pivot. So this morning, they got that huge bid. There will be profit taking that steps in. I fully believe that. So let's see what happens. But as I said, most central banks are steady to lowering rates. One exception today, the Norway's bank, they raised rates. They still see inflation as a problem, but even they say that might be all that they're doing. We'll see where that goes. Not getting much of a bid off of this, by the way, in Bitcoin, which is an outlier on all that. And again, next week we'll get the Bank of Japan's central bank meeting. The market is doing the job for the bank. They can afford to say they're not going to do anything right now. They're going to keep policy the same. The market's not believing them, and it's pricing in a difference, just the way we did in the bonds and notes when the Fed kept in the prior meetings saying, no, we're staying. Market didn't buy it. You saw interest rates, especially mortgages, go from 8 to 7. I wonder what they're going to reset now. Could be under a 7% number, which will be exciting. And are we going to get the 10-year note under 4%? That'll be another exciting event. Don't know if it'll happen. So I'm Ira Epstein. I'll catch up with you all at the end of the day. You have yourself a great trading day. See you then.